Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Market Truth Evening Commentary for Thursday, March 3rd. Let's go over the action tonight ahead of tomorrow's big jobs report. We've seen a nice sharp turnaround in the market. We talked about earlier in the week how we got weekly sell signals on Tuesday across the board in all the indices. Today we traded back above the that weekly low volatility level. And in fact, we've traded all the way almost. Here's the S&P futures. We've got all the way up to about 1331 today. That weekly high volatility level, remember, is 1336. 1336 in the S&P. When we look at the intraday action from earlier today, we had a nice pretty it was we gapped up on the morning, and we pretty much traded right along that line, the intraday high volatility level, all day long. That level was right around 1330. We did get above it going into the close there, and in the after hours, but we pretty much closed right there in the S&P. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was strong today because of the strength in Apple Computer. You'll notice lower left hand panel here, we actually traded all the way back up to the weekly high volatility level in the NQ. And we basically failed there. So we trade all the way back up to 23.75. When you look at the intraday action here, again, there wasn't a lot of volatility intraday today. Most of the action came on the gap up in the morning, and then we had we had a really strong move, pre-market with the jobless claims. Um, I also want to show you here. I'm going to go back to the S&P in a second, but a couple of these indices were actually not only close to the weekly, but also the monthly. I gave you the monthly low volatility levels yesterday, but I need to give you the top side targets because we may be running into these tomorrow with the jobless numbers on the Nasdaq. That's 23.99. That's not very far away. On the S&P futures, that number on the upside. And this is really important because if we do get a gap pre-market, or if we pop on the open, many times when we get those pops, they tend to trade right to these levels and fail there. And the S&P, that's 1350. That would be a pretty big move tomorrow in the S&P. But 1350, that's going to be our target. That would obviously be taking out the old swing high at 1343. Let's take a look at the Dow here. We reviewed the same action. The Dow traded. Look at that. The Dow today traded all the way back up to the weekly high volatility level and failed there, right around 12,280. We came in 40 handles off that. You'll notice on the intraday, same price action. Basically traded up to the intraday level, and failed there. Basically traded sideways most of the day. But on the monthly, you'll see it right here again. 12,409. 12,409. And now let's take a look at the Russell. And on the Russell, you're going to see very similar price action. Didn't quite get back up to that weekly level. Remember, right around 834.50, 834.50, and on the monthly, 842.50, 842.50. So we could easily hit that tomorrow. That would just be a 1.5% move. So we could hit that 842.50 tomorrow. So keep an eye on that. That monthly level is really, really important. Very rarely do the indices just trade right through them to the upside or the downside. They usually will go there. They'll come in a couple, 2, 3 days. If the market has enough strength or weakness, it will then go back and run right through them. But they usually fail there the first time. So that's a level to watch. In case we gap up tomorrow and in case we run, watch that 842.50 area. You'll see in the Russell today, pretty much the same action. Gapped up pre-market, traded kind of sideways and sloppy all day. So that's where we are in the indices. Again, we got those weekly sell signals. Intraday, there wasn't a whole lot to do. You had an opportunity to try to short them at that intraday high volatility level, but we never really came in much. We never really went anywhere. There wasn't a whole lot to do. But watch that upside. We're right getting back near the swing highs in all the indices. So the jobs number is going to be key tomorrow. And then, of course, next week we'll get the new weekly levels for you. All right, guys, good luck with the numbers tomorrow.